Once upon a time, there was a little boy called Howard who loved writing stories.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Young Howard wrote many stories and scripts.
Mr. Quackers was on his magic toilet.
But then one day he grew up and discovered alcohol and laziness, so he put his writing in the attic and forgot about it. 20 years later, Howard found his old stories and persuaded his lifelong friend Rufus to read them. Join Rufus and Howard as they embark on a mission to read everything he wrote, from the age of 5 until now, in The Worst Writer in the World.
Little Howard dreamed of being a writer, and so he sat and wrote every night. But everything he wrote was fucking shite, yeah. Wubba-dubba-doo, wubba-dubba-doo. Worst writer in the world. 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 He's a stupid, suck-ass, rubbish writer.
So, Howard, in true Howard Long style, you have suddenly found a piece of writing that you've never mentioned before that is 55,000 words long.
Well, at one point, I didn't find Gret Benchleaf as agonising, and so buoyed on by...
Shit, yeah, we were already writing Gret Benchleaf when you wrote this.
Yeah, so buoyed on by Gret
madness.
Benchleaf, I was like, oh, I'm going to do more writing, because you can't be writing Gret Benchleaf all the time, can you?
No, because I've got to do some of it.
And I adopted the approach of writing in the morning and the evening before. In the morning, just after I woke up, before doing anything else, and before I went to sleep.
Okay. So yeah, I've heard that advice that before your brain is properly kind of on, or when you're tired, because you're not so self-critical at that time, and it allows you to kind of splurge a first draft more easily.
Yes,
I don't find it's true for me, but I've heard people give that advice, and apparently, obviously it works for many people.
Well, I mean, when I started, I wasn't necessarily planning to write a book. I was just writing random stuff, but it very quickly decided it was a book, and then I let it.
Okay. So you've got a list of characters at the beginning, because that's normal in books. But to be fair to you, this is still in note form, right? So this is probably as much for you as anything else.
Yeah, I know exactly what they are as well. It's weird now thinking about it, that the things I kind of remember about this, because it wasn't that long ago, I suppose. But
yeah,
that list of names there are names that I've written down and are ready for when a new character enters the book, and I can go to the front and pick one.
That's such a weird backwards way of writing.
It's because we were doing Gret Benchleaf, and used to, this is one of the influences, is you would do really interesting character names. So I'd probably anytime I came up with a vaguely interesting character name, I'd put it down and go that sounds like somebody who would exist in the 50s in France.
That's well, you're right. I was pretty good at character names. For example, Professor Doctor Who, famously. One of my best. That was good. Steve Ella.
Yeah,
Steve Ella Benchleaf. Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, so Angus Onion, Cecily Game,
Nice.
Gillespie Staff. As 3 characters who have nouns as surnames, right? These are Burt Pencil surnames. What's happened here, right, is that as we've learned since we did stars, we have learned that my naming, some of my naming habits are picked up completely from you, hence Burt Pencil. And then what seems to have happened is that you've heard me do that in Gret Benchleaf, forgetting that you used to do this as a child, and you've gone, oh, I quite like that idea. I'm going to write characters like Burt Pencil. That's a really good idea of Rufus's.
Yes.
Okay, Cecily Game, Gillespie Staff, Burt Pencil, brilliant. And then we've got what looks like a synopsis to me. So do you want to hear the synopsis of your book?
I don't know, it's spoilers? I suppose that's what you'd read on the back of the book, right?
Yeah, I assume so. But we can cut it if we think it ruins it for listeners. In 1930 line,
Oh right,
you'd taken that. Books used to do that a lot.
Yeah,
right? I was quite like that as a thing. Books don't do that anymore. where you just go in 1930 blah, and you don't specify.
And I didn't just misspell the word 9, did I? 1930 line.
No, it's numbers. It's okay. It's not. I mean, you might have accidentally hit the shift key when you were trying to hit the 0. No, I suppose it's next to the 0.
Yeah, no,
you missed.
I did it.
You missed. You missed.
Yeah.
So I like that. I support that as an idea, that because books should be allowed to be a bit flexible with reality since they're fiction. Like we still definitely do that with Gret Binchleaf a lot. Like right now we're writing a Gret Binchleaf book set in the 90s and never specifying exactly where. Like, it's the 90s, possibly early 2000s. It's very unclear. From the cultural references that Gret makes, it's very, very unclear when he lives. In 1930-something, an apathetic little year nestling dully between wars. Parvenu and Oxford flunkout, George Spooner, passes the time by following strangers. Okay, disturbing. Passes the time by being a stalker.
Yeah, but this is 2013. It was okay to be a stalker then.
I don't think it was. I think we were well over it by then. Passes the time by following strangers in search of some distraction from the triviality of his own life. But when he follows the lady in the white dress onto a ferry bound for Calais and murders her. No, fortunately it doesn't say that. He follows the lady in the white dress onto a ferry bound for Calais. He soon finds himself involved in a singular adventure of witchcraft and murder. No, it is, and murder.
Yay!
That will forever change his outlook on hooks, horses and women. Now there's a weird group of things. It will forever. And also, why'd you put hooks first? That should be third, right? That's the surprising one. I mean, it shouldn't be in the list at all. Don't get me wrong. Hook should not be in that list.
You don't
but
know.
If it is,
but you don't know
it
because
should
like
be last.
you don't know how many hooks there are in this story. It's like full on hook for the next 50 pages. So it's like
Absolutely, but then it should still be last because this is the synopsis, and that's the surprising one. It should be women. It should be women first because we've already mentioned a woman. Forever changes outlook on women. Horses, because you're like, oh, that's introducing something, but it's not too weird. Something is going to happen to him to make him change his outlook on horses, right? I thought they were pigs. No, I thought they went oink and provided bacon. It turns out I was wrong. My outlook on horses has completely changed. No, so it should be his outlook on women, horses, and hooks, and that is literally the hook that makes you think, "Wow, I wonder why this book is so interested in hooks that it is the last word in the synopsis." I tell you what, it better be 50 pages just about hooks. I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I have no idea what that means. I don't know whether that's just kind of like a placeholder word. Like hooks will do, whatever.
You're looking for a hook. Later I'm going to need a hook here, something interesting, but not the word hooks, because that's as dull as anything. This is a story about a man changing his outlook on hooks. All right, so here we go. Knowing so many interesting people, I was perfectly prepared to be the dullest person in a room. Today, however, I was feeling pretty interesting, although, arguably, I was just being dumb instead of boring. Another of my many traits, beginning with the letter D. I was following the White Rabbit. This was a game we had invented when we were much younger. We, in this instance, would mean myself, Chuck Facey, and
Got that name in nice and early then, Chuck Facey.
Yes, my good old friend, Chuck Facey. That's normal name. Mr. Facey.
He used to be able to take his face off and chuck it at people. And that's why we called him Chuck Facey. His real name is Steve.
It was David Jones. And we called him Chuck Facey. It's much more. I mean, he didn't David anyone's Jones, did he? But he did Chuck his face. Yes, Chuck Facey. And Granville, not me, Povey.
Granville, not me, Povey.
Granville, not me, Povey. So that's Facey and Povey are their names. Back in high school, with little or no money to spend in the laborious summer holidays, we had taken to hanging around the town and following people. We had taken up creepy fucking crime. Oh, we're bored. What if we stalk people and terrify them? What do you think, chaps? Chuck Facey threw his face at me, which was his way of saying yes. Well, do you think people will be scared if I follow them and throw my face at them? Yes. So the rules of White Rabbit were very simple. You would wait in the sun for someone dressed in white and then follow them about their daily routine. If a policeman saw you, you went to prison, which was also called losing the game.
It's okay if they're kids, they're just playing spies. It's just weirder that he's still doing it when he's older.
Oh, are they kids? Oh, right, okay. So
That's not
so
three
they are
grown
kids
men.
at this point.
Yeah. He's
That's
talking
what
about-
I thought.
He said when
That's
he was
what I
younger,
thought.
didn't he? He said the first
Yeah,
thing.
but I mean, younger. I was the game we'd
And he
invented
said
when we were much younger.
summer holidays. He says,
Back
doesn't
in
he?
high school. High school is not young enough. Oh, I suppose you mean Coville High School, which is
Yeah.
like 11 to 13, right? Rather than everywhere else high school, which is over 14.
Yes, and again, it wasn't at this point when I'm writing it. I guess it's not set in 1930 line, so I'm just using high school because
Okay,
they probably didn't have a high school back then.
I think, I mean, obviously that's not as bad as 3 adult men, but I think it could still be quite scary if 3 13-year-old boys are following you around. That
Yeah,
disturbs
just
me.
little rapscallions having a bit of fun,
Yeah,
having a bit of
but
fun
you
murdering people.
Yeah, but you can't murder them back. It's like completely against the law to murder children, even if they're murdering you. So what can you do? You're helpless. So you would wait in the sun for someone dressed in white and then follow them about their daily routine. If you passed somebody dressed in more white as you went, you must immediately follow them instead. Wow, okay, so like a white shirt. I mean, that's...
I guess
in
they
the
were looking for
1930s, it's-
ghosts, maybe. It's like, if you saw someone wearing a sheet, then you just get after them
Yes.
and ask them if they'd
And
like to
if-
psychoanalyze you. No, we're small boys. Come on, psychoanalyzers.
Yes, it was the 1930s and psychoanalysis was very difficult to get, so we had to find a ghost to do it for us, which was very tricky. We followed lots of people wearing white and not a single one of them agreed that they were a ghost. Yeah, so if you pass someone dressed in more white as you went, you must immediately follow them instead. And should you reach a dead end, so that's when the ghost walks through a wall and you can't.
Yeah.
Because why would you reach a dead end if you're following someone? Unless they've walked through a wall, right?
That's why it's definitely a ghost then.
Yeah, I think so. Because otherwise it'd be like if they went in a house and you can't follow them in their house.
Well, that's a dead
But
end,
That's not a dead end.
Well, a cul-de-sac. If you go down a cul-de-sac, that's a dead end. And if they live in a house down a cul-de-sac. So the simple rules are follow someone in white, see someone in more white, follow them. But if they reach their dead end cul-de-sac house, that you've got to go.
Yeah, if they reach their house, then you've got to follow. You've got to find
Smash their
another
windows
rabbit.
in and be like, let us in. Chuck wants to throw his face at you.
So since you reach a dead end, we'll assume that means a point at which you can't follow them for any reason.
Yeah.
Rather than a physical dead end, you must find another rabbit. The idea was to be detectives. And, for the most part, we'd give up as soon as our rabbit got a bus which we could not afford to board. Now, however, in my 30s, I am pleased to say I have accrued more money than sense. Whilst many apparently consider this an unfortunate state of affairs, I personally prefer money to sense. Money can get you no end of stuff, while sense never bought me anything, and on the whole seems to negate the idea of spending entirely. I like that. When faced with a river, I think as you always go further. I feel like this paragraph's going really well, but also it is like driving very fast down a hill towards the sea. Or a river. When faced with a river, sense may suggest walking further downstream to find crossing, or building a bridge from felled branches. Sense. Oh, there's a river. I know. I'll build a bridge.
The bridge.
From felled branches. But money will hire you a boat and a bottle of plonk. So, if that is good sense, then I'll stick with my wallet if it's all the same to you. Right, so if you've got sense, then it will tell you to find a bridge or build one. But if you've got money,
Just get in a boat and get drunk.
you can hire a boat and get drunk. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'm not entirely sure what wisdom's being communicated, but it seems true.
Well,
True.
no, I don't think there's any wisdom being because he's not interested in wisdom or sense. He's interested in boats.
A very good point.
And
He's
getting
interested in
drunk
drinking
on
on
said
boats.
Yeah.
Okay, I digress. I was on the ferry. When playing White Rabbit as an adult, it is advisable to pack a small overnight bag and passport. Oh, fucking
Seriously now, then.
yeah, so when they were a kid, they didn't get on buses, but now he will get on a plane and travel to Australia if that's what's necessary. If someone wearing white goes there.
Yeah.
The thing is, right, like, what if he meets an off-duty sailor dressed all in white, right? He's
Yeah.
not going to meet anyone else dressed in more white than
Yeah.
that sailor. And then he has to follow them onto their boat and join the navy. And then also he keeps seeing other people dressed in white. It just gets worse.
I think that's probably like one of those dead ends he was referring to.
What, becoming a naval officer? Yeah.
Dead being the operative word because he then dies at sea.
So when playing White Rabbit as an adult, it's advisable to pack a small overnight bag and passport. And although I was only headed towards France this evening, who knew where tomorrow my rabbit might be headed?
Space.
So he is just a rich weirdo
Yeah.
who's got nothing to do, and so he's decided to stalk people around the world.
It's like a... Yeah, in 2013, this seemed like, quite a kind of like fun...
Quirky idea,
idea. But now it just seems terrifying, yeah. And it's someone with money, just this moneyed person just like going like, I can do what I like. I'm going to follow this person.
Yeah. And we know it's going to be a woman eventually because that's what the story's about, right?
And we know he's really shit at following people as well because he's narrating the whole thing.
Yeah,
So she's
talking as
like,
he goes.
sitting terrified, scared as this man's going like, oh, she had a white dress on and I was following her.
Yes. I saw a woman in a white dress. I didn't worry about the fact that she was in the middle of a wedding and started following her. She and her husband both got
Yeah.
very annoyed with me, but I went on a honeymoon with them because I certainly didn't meet anyone else wearing more white than this bride.
Yeah, he's like hanging onto the back of the just married car.
The just married car.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, the just married car. Yeah,
Yeah.
famous just married car.
Yeah.
So, here we go. My current rabbit was a rather attractive...
That's really scary and disgusting and spooky that he calls them rabbits as well.
Yeah, well, this sentence, believe it or not, this sentence is going to get worse. It's quite a short sentence, right? It's only like 8 words long, but my current rabbit is the least disturbing part of it, because the rest of it is my current rabbit was a rather attractive thing. My current rabbit was a rather attractive thing. She could be no older than 20.
Ooh.
How old is he? Do we know? We don't know. Do
He's
we?
in his 30s. He said, now in my
Oh, is he?
30s.
Fuck,
Now in my
fuck,
30s,
okay.
I like following young women.
Oh, God.
Out to Venice.
Oh, my God.
And I murder them and throw them over the side.
Yes. She was slim, almost boyish in her frame,
Ooh.
but unmistakably feminine in her face. Don't tell me, did she have red hair? Was she skinny, boyishly bodied with red hair? Does she work in a linear office?
She was holding a lollipop. I can smell that lollipop from the other side of the ferry.
So she was slim, almost boyish in her frame, but unmistakably feminine in her face. Mm-hmm. She had one of those eyebrows.
What? What?
There's more. There is more to the sentence.
Okay.
I'm just pausing to appreciate the phrasing. She had one of those eyebrows that is constantly raised, as though the owner had done something frightfully naughty. Oh my God, this is... I was not expecting this to be almost as difficult to read as Ginger Beast. Like almost as disturbing, just in a kind of different way.
Yeah. I mean, it's a first draft the same as Ginger Beasting, so...
Yeah, because this is a novel you gave up halfway through and never probably read back at all. Whereas Ginger Beasting, of course, is something you submitted for publication. So why would they be any different in how much work you spent on them?
Yeah.
Her lips were full and always slightly parted, as though she didn't want to damage her perfect nose by daring to breathe through it. When I started reading that, I was, because she didn't want to damage her perfect is the end of a line, and then I had to move to the next line. I was expecting the next word to be lipstick. her lips were always slightly parted as though she didn't want to damage her perfect. And then I go to the next line and it's nose.
Hey, well, when I started writing that line, maybe I thought.
Yeah. Then you went away for a sandwich, came back, forgot what you intended.
Yeah, it was that.
You're like, I don't know, nose.
Yeah.
Probably damage your nose by breathing through it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to be interesting because I don't believe that you can. Because, realistically speaking, I don't think you can damage your nose by breathing through it. I think that's what it's for. I think that's what it's specifically for.
Is its single purpose?
Yeah. And really, you should not encourage people to breathe through their mouths because, the nose acts as a filter to a lot of bad things.
Like chickens getting in and stuff.
Chickens. Yeah.
You got your mouth wide open. There's going to have chickens in there eventually, aren't you?
Exactly. If you're going to start fucking breathing through your mouth, you're going to be eating chicken drumsticks with your nose, and that's just weird. I noticed that she shoved a chicken drumstick up her nose.
Started talking out of her ears. I thought she's mixed up her head orifices. Okay, so I started out in Marylebone, where I found myself following a fellow in a white linen suit. But when Missy appeared round a corner, I was almost blinded. She was dressed top to toe in a white, shoulderless dress with white shoes, bracelet, handbag and hat. She had a long white train behind her being carried by small boys and girls, and her father was walking next to her, arm in arm. I thought, I'll follow this one. I've got no idea where she could be going. No, it was all true up to the handbag and hat.
Right.
Her apparent refusal to wear any other colours only strengthened my belief that she was only just out of her teens. For no self-respecting woman of age would step out in a single shade. It simply was not a la mode. So ditching my suit, happily I might add, for he was a limper and dawdler and not made for my excitement. This man I'd been following was not made for my excitement, but this 20-year-old woman on her own, dressed in white, was made for my excitement. Yes. I am the most terrifying person that has ever lived. I latched on to this young traveller who, after a visit to a bookshop to buy a travelogue, had hailed a taxi and headed for Dover. I had immediately hopped in a chariot of my own. I hope he means like an actual Roman chariot being pulled by 2 horses. That'd be good. Like really subtle following. After the taxi. Yeah. I put on my Roman gladiator costume, got in my horse-drawn chariot and whipped those horses all the way to Dover, yelling all the way. She didn't know anything about it. No, I had immediately hopped in a chariot of my own and uttered those fateful words, "Follow that cab," and I was on my way.
So actually, I've found a similarity between this and early Gret Benchleaf. Main characters immediately decided to go to France.
Yes, for no good reason.
Thinks he's a detective and has decided to go to France. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Like just on some weird whim, right? That's what happens in chapter 2 of the people turning into books. Is Gret, like someone turns into a book. Gret goes to a bookshop. They say this kind of ink's only made in France. At no point does Gret say, "No, this was a person yesterday." That makes no sense.
So Gret goes to a bookshop. This lady went to a bookshop.
Shit, yeah, absolutely.
France, see what
straight
happens
to France.
Next. There's going to be a monkey expert coming up pretty soon, I think.
Covered in monkeys, yeah. I wonder, like, if you get into a taxi and say, "Follow that taxi," I wonder if they just say, "No, that's illegal." I don't know what the law is in just paying someone to help you stalk someone else.
Well, I guess maybe they'd want to know why. They'd be like, "Oh, they've forgotten their wallet, and I've got to take it for them." And they'd be like, "Oh, that's very good of you. What a great citizen you are." And it's secretly going, "Not really. I'm going to murder them."
In movies, one of 2 things happens, right? Obviously, the first thing is that the taxi driver does it, and obviously that's a cliche that's been happening for a long time. But there is a bigger cliche now, a worse thing that happens in a lot of movies, which is the taxi turns around with a big grin and says, "I've always wanted someone to say that."
Oh yeah,
to me.
yeah.
I hate that. That is so. That's not a clever line anymore. Once maybe you can get away with that in one movie, but not every fucking movie. So yes, I said follow the cab, and I was on my way. Well, Not exactly.
Oh.
The cabbie had refused to believe me for a time.
Oh, there you go. I did it. I've just
Yeah, but what did he refuse to believe?
that he wanted to follow that cab.
But what? I mean, just if you're a taxi driver, you go somewhere and then charge the person. What do you not believe? That I mean, the only thing you can not believe is that they're going to pay you. Then you don't do anything. You're like, I don't believe you're going to pay me. But if you're like, I don't believe you want to follow that cab, it's like, who cares if you want it or not? As long as you pay me at the end.
Maybe he thinks he's taking the piss. That's what he means by like not believing. He's like, what? No, come on. Why do you want to go? Really? No. I mean, do follow that cab. Really? You want me to follow that cab? Are you sure? Yes, I do. Okay, here we go. Clip, clop,
Okay,
clip,
well, it
clop,
says-
clip,
let's-
clop, clip, clop.
Yeah, they haven't got very far, to be honest. So the next line is, he was a wearisome-looking bird.
That's not a cab.
Yeah, you just sat down behind a pigeon. That's what you did, and then asked it to
Follow
follow
that
a cab.
cab.
Didn't seem to want to at first, or at all. Then then the cabbie flew away and ate a worm. Should have done them in the opposite order. Didn't they? That was a bit weird. Flew away and then ate a worm like a sky worm.
Yeah.
All right, so he was a wearisome-looking bird with a moustache. It's getting weirder. This is one of the things I like about the way you write sentences. Like, you never know what's going to happen next. Like, this is like, he was a wearisome-looking bird with a moustache that refused to be tamed. Like, it never stops being amazing. So he was a wearisome-looking bird with a moustache that refused to be tamed. But I flashed him my wad. And we were presently on our way. So I got into what I thought was a taxi, but a bird was driving it. But it was a bird with an untamed moustache. Then I showed him my penis, and he left.
He thought it was a worm.
And ate it. I tell you what, I've said this before, but one of the things I enjoy about reading your writing is the way it tends to throw a critical light on tropes that are very common in TV and movies. And I was thinking about this, right? You know, like sometimes we do like writing challenges for worst writer, and like particularly like you like to give me a challenge to write outside my comfort zone. Like it's like write some erotica, for example. That was a particularly difficult one, which is very much outside my comfort zone. I've got no idea about it, right?
Yeah, you failed miserably at it as well.
I did fail miserably, absolutely. But the thing about you is I feel like you're almost always writing outside your comfort zone. Like 100% of the time, right? Or certainly with the things we read for this show, not necessarily
Yeah, because
for things
I'm
like
never
Grab Bench League.
writing what I know, because I don't know anything.
That's definitely, that could be part of it. But also because you seem very, like, you don't have necessarily, or you don't seem to have, like, one particular genre or type of story. Like, most writers, particularly writers who write as much as you do, whether successful or not, tend to favour something, so favour a type of story or a type of character or a genre. But you have really got quite a wide variety of things that you have written. And often, like we've talked about, often it's because you're commissioned to do something, it's not really your idea. But sometimes it's just like, yeah, I know, I just think I'll write a story about a load of kids on a bus. Now I'll write Doctor Who. Now I'll write a sci-fi adventure story. Now I'll write a romance. It's like, it's a lot of variety, which means it seems that you never get comfortable in one of those genres or with those characters and start to kind of make your own tropes or to, to really understand it. All right. And consequently, you're often because it's this might be your first time writing this kind of story, you're pulling a lot from other places, from other movies, other TV, other books, whatever. And the way you do it really makes it clear how ridiculous they are. and in a really effective and wonderful way. Please do, I mean this as a compliment. I love this about your writing. It's one of my favourite things. It's only true in these kind of things we do for the Worst Writer Show, where you've decided to write something completely out of your comfort zone and just gone, I'm going to write a romance for the first time with no idea what romance is, either as a story or in reality. Right? But I'm going to do it anyway. So I watched a bunch of romance movies and then I did something similar. And then it really kind of shows us how odd romance movies can be. And this is the same kind of deal because there's so many examples of... there's even, I think there's a Pop Culture Detective video on stalking for romance or something like that he did, where he kind of compiled a bunch of examples of how in movies stalking is seen as a romantic, nice gesture rather than a terrifying, awful thing to happen to someone.
Yes.
But obviously, when movies do that, they make it seem romantic, and you have to kind of take a step back and kind of go, no, hang on, this is terrifying. Why is he watching her from outside her house? That's not romantic. That's horrible. But when I read yours, there's no point when I don't think this is horrible. Because you're like, I was playing a game where I stalk people. Right? Straight, like no one's being seduced by the romance of this because there isn't any. And so consequently, it allows us to think more clearly about this trope in fiction, I think. And that's a wonderful service that you're providing to me and the world.
Yes. And that was what I planned all along.
I believe you, because it's very effective. If you were going to do a spoof of this kind of stalking romance to deliberate, and your objective was to show how stupid it is and how disturbing it is, this would be an effective way to do it. I was playing a game where I follow women to France. Fuck. Fucking hell. I've been doing it since I was a child. Yeah, with my friends. Oh my God.
Chuck Facey!
Used to pull his face up and throw it at women. It's like, yes, okay, I get it. You don't need to do any more. I'm already terrified. All right, so we're our main character is in a taxi, following a woman who's also in another taxi because she's wearing a lot of white, and he's a scary stalker. Okay. Understandably, it is something of a hike to Calais from London, and once I put 2 and 2 together in the form of a travelogue and a signpost for Dover, I realised I would be spending some considerable time with my hairy-lipped companion. So what does this euphemism mean? Could you hold my calls? I'm going to be spending time with my hairy-lipped companion for a while. Okay. No, you mean the bird with the moustache, right? That's what he's talking about.
I really hope so.
Spending some considerable time with my hairy-lipped companion, and so endeavoured to engage him in some idle chat to pass the time. Doesn't look like we're actually going to get any of the chat. There's no dialogue. Just like promising me chat and then not writing any. But it's okay, because the next line's pretty good. Because the next line says, his name was Des Dawes. All those names at the beginning. All those fucking names. And then the first character I met was called Des Dawes. Desmond Dawes. Hello, my name's Desmond Dawes. I drive a fucking taxi.
Well, those rubbish ones are left because I used all the brilliant ones like Chuck Facey and Des Dawes.
True, yeah, I forgot about Chuck Facey. Des Dawes. It is another Burt Pencil name as well. His name was Des Dawes. And again, even though there were only 2 of us present, and I had fancied the odds, I am loath to admit, again, that I found myself to be the less interesting of the 2 of us.
Ah.
So he keeps saying he's boring. He's
Yeah.
boring and a stalker. That's what we know about him so far.
It's always the quiet ones, isn't it?
It is with cab drivers. They often have a lot to say about nothing. It is with cab drivers. They often have a lot to say about nothing. That's a sentence that I decided to say.
Sounds like a fine sentence to me. It sounds good.
But Des was well-travelled and well-informed fellow. My sentence structure just fallen apart. I think in the last... What I didn't tell you is that I just drank half a bottle of whiskey in the back of the taxi with Des. Des had offered me some whiskey and we got rat-arsed. It is often the case with cab drivers that they have a lot to say about nothing, but Des was a well-travelled and well-informed fellow, if I met one. It just keeps getting worse. Sal keeps trying to fix it. It just keeps throwing me another curveball. If I met one. Des was well-travelled and well-informed fellow, if I met one. And soon had my rapt attention as he detailed a drive he had taken through the Sudan in a route master with a notorious gun runner. He took a bus to the Sudan. He took a London bus to the Sudan and then drove it through the Sudan with a gun runner.
Yeah.
A full artillery and a helping hand capuchin monkey who could count to 8 and knew how to start fires. You said there'd be monkeys. You were right. They went to France. They're going to France. There's monkeys. Hello, my name is Professor Souffle. I happen to be covered in monkeys. No big deal, okay? Des kept me thoroughly entertained all the way to Dover and ever kept a flask in the glove compartment. So they did get drunk. I was right about that. So several stories and snifters later, Des was dropping me by the ferry and we were bidding adieu like old war buddies, shaking hands and patting each other on the old shoulder. Driving driving a route master bus across the Sudan. Right, let's find out when the route master was made. Route master first journey 1956. So a bit of time travel happening in this story.
Well, as I did mention before, it takes a while until it's set in 1939.
Yeah, well, I think this next line is a bit of a clue to that. Because, anyway, they said goodbye, basically. I paid him twice for his troubles, figuring he really ought to receive something for the trip back. And having fun for the trip back. I think taxi drivers kind of include that in their price, right? They're aware that they have to drive back from places.
George Spooner isn't, and he's drunk. Hold on, who's going to pay you to go home? You have to live here now.
That's right, sir. I suppose you could always pay me twice if you wanted to, so I can go and back and live in my house.
Little Howard dreamed of being a writer, and so he sat and wrote to every night. But everything he wrote was fucking shite, yeah. Wubba-dubba-doo, wubba-dubba-doo. Worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world, worst writer in the world.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Worst Writer in the World.
Hooray!
We'll be back with episode 2 of George Spooner and the woman who fell in love with a horse. I think that's what it's called.
I think it's the woman who loved a horse.
There's a title. Anyway, This story, we'll be back in 2 weeks for the next episode. And that's true for everybody, including the gang. Because if you join the gang for as little as $2 a month, you can't get the rest of George Spooner right now, as we have sometimes done in the past, because this story is just too long and too complicated and we are not ready for it.
Yeah, I've not finished it yet either.
So we haven't finished it. However, you can get loads of other stuff. So if you think, 2 weeks, that's a long time, I want to listen to a load of other stuff by Rufus and Howard, join the gang, get immediate access to an enormous back catalogue and new stuff pretty much every week.
Amazing. And when we talk about a back catalogue, we don't mean a catalogue, right? Specifically.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, milk.
He's a stupid, suck-ass, rubbish writer.